Listen, this is the most important offshore banking and payment processing video that you will ever find online. I'm serious about it. Most 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs waste 50% of their time solving banking and payment processing issues, with fintech banks treating you like a criminal, asking for KYC, asking for proof for every single baby transaction, or payment aggregators, payment facilitators holding your funds out of nowhere. My name is Samuel Aziz. I'm the boss of banking, the sultan of payment processing, and I open more than 100 bank accounts and merchant accounts all over the world. From the US to UK to Switzerland to Turkey to Lithuania to Qatar to UAE to Hong Kong to where we are right now, beautiful Singapore, to build the ultimate infrastructure to make first $500K, then $1 million, then $2 million, then $5 million, and then $10 million per month without any issue, which then enabled me to give charity, to build a global real estate portfolio, to live wherever I want, to hire 150 righteous employees, to building businesses with a higher entry barrier. And in today's video, I want to share with you exactly how I did it in every single jurisdiction so that you can also get bulletproof banking to bank like a boss and that you can enjoy private processing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First and foremost, I'm a Muslim revert, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and obviously we are standing here in front of all of these bank towers. I will share with you a lot of these banks. I just want to tell you, I'm not a promoter of these banks. I don't know if they're ethically correct, but the only thing that I can do here with this channel is to build the strongest, most righteous community in the world, and I do this by sharing with you the real source, what actually worked for me in my businesses and with my wealth until today. And today I was looking here outside and I was reflecting about my life and how I started. I grew up in a small village in Germany, then I lived in a shared apartment with 30 people, then I made some money. Then I again self-sabotaged myself with banking and payment processing issues, and then I finally made it to the top. And the first step to create sustainable wealth was to understand the difference between fintech banks and real banks, between payment aggregators and real payment processing. So fintech banks are nothing but financial technology platforms, also called neobanks, which means they are online banks without physical branches, which could be fine, but it depends on their policy. The issue is that all of them want to be cool, drink some kombucha in Silicon Valley, and they have in their policy to just block you when you create some issue. And that's why most of you have issues with fintech bank accounts. So in the future, if I would make my own fintech bank, there would be proper support. But as fintech banks are good to get started. But obviously, if you have real wealth, there's no other way than having real local banks or private banks, because they want you with $10 million, with $100 million, and definitely not fintech bank accounts. And it's exactly the same with payment processing. You have payment aggregators, payment facilitators, who basically have one big master mid, and they are underwritten with the bank, and they just onboard you on their payment processing account. And that's why you can get payment processing extremely fast and an easy login, but it's not really stable. Why? Because they can't risk their own payment processing account, which they just share with you. And that's why you are always at risk. And that's why you always need to have at least a backup with real payment processing, where you are directly underwritten with the bank, with your own MIT, so that nobody can just block you all of a sudden. And you should always have one or two backups. So let me walk you through the most important countries and jurisdictions where I have experience. Switzerland, the old money banking haven. Switzerland, a beautiful country blessed with beautiful mountains, crystal clear lakes, and Swiss banking, as you probably know from all these movies like Wolf of Wall Street. And it's originally true. 200 years ago, Switzerland looked at its neighbors Germany, France, Italy, Austria, and they were a small landlocked country, and they just decided, hey, we will be neutral and we will convince our neighbor countries to invest their money in our country, already during the Napoleonic Wars. And 100 years ago, there was even the Swiss Banking Secrecy Act, which made it basically illegal to disclose the identity of their clients. This was the past. Nowadays, it all changed. Now we have common reporting standard. So can you still use this jurisdiction? I mean, there are big, good banks like UBS, for example, which have branches in Germany and Switzerland, all over the world. But more important, you have private banks like Bank Pictet, which only start with 5 million Swiss francs bank balance. And I like these banks, but for me, overall, I'm not using them much. We have a lot of clients who use them in combination with the Cook Islands Trust. A lot of ultra high net worth individual clients, they have a Cook Islands Trust, which is already asset protection, and then they also combine it with a Swiss private bank account, because the Swiss banks, yes, they still like to work with clients who have offshore companies, who have trusts and foundations, which makes it anonymous to a certain degree. But because I'm not that much in Europe, I'm not investing a lot in Europe at the moment, I'm not using these bank accounts much, but I really learned a lot from Switzerland, because last year I was flying to Switzerland in Emirates first class, and I was thinking, hey, when I fly first class, it's luxurious, I'm lonely here at the top, there is no self-check-in. When you fly economy, you need to do your self-check-in. Then I'm driving with the Maybach or Rolls-Royce. Of course, somebody opens you the door, you don't need to take your luggage, nothing. While if you drive with your Opel or public transport, you need to do everything by yourself. And then I realized, hey, it's exactly the same with these banks. That's the key difference, because with these cheap banks, I need to bombard this online chat. Hey, why are you blocking my account? What do you want from me? I will threaten you with my lawyer. And with his private banks, I'm just sitting there with my private banker, and he says, don't worry, we will take care of everything. And at this time, I realized there's nothing like this in payment processing. In payment processing, there are only either these aggregators, which are okay to get started, or there are merchant service providers, which are all shady. They are all unprofessional. Or write in the comments if you know anybody, because you don't know anybody. And this is what I realized at this time. And this is why there basically the private processing idea got born. This is our private processing award, and we already gave a lot of different awards to our best clients. And private processing is nowadays the ultimate solution for payment processing, because you pay one time and you don't need to worry about anything at all forever. You will always have a backup. You have your private processor, which is like your private banker. You have dedicated PayPal manager, and you have all these solutions around like Zelle, Klarna, whatever you need basically. It's your private banking of the payment processing world. And this is where Switzerland totally opened my mind. Singapore, which is basically the new and improved Switzerland, because Singapore shows you the same. It's a small mini country, and you can see on our B-rolls how beautiful this country is and how perfect they made everything, and they don't have a lot of resources, which means that they are reliant on your trust. If you don't trust them with your finances, they don't have anything. But look around us. We have the wealthiest people. We have meetings in the next days with billionaires here who park almost all their wealth in Singapore. And I think Singapore is great for ultra high net worth individuals, but you really need at least $30–40 million. Then it starts to make sense. It also makes sense to make a holding here just to get dividends. But overall, I'm not using Singapore much for business. I'm using Singapore more for personal banking, especially UOB and DBS, because they have branches all over Asia, from Singapore to Thailand to Indonesia. And it's just great if I need a lot of cash instantly. For example, to buy gold here in Singapore, because Singapore is extremely great for asset protection and really good to buy precious metals like silver, like gold, like platinum. So when you already have your gold or platinum private processing award, then it's definitely time to also buy some gold and platinum here in Singapore. So Singapore, just to make it short, really good, especially on personal level, while the next jurisdiction is better for corporate. Hong Kong, which is basically the all-rounder business jurisdiction of Asia. It's your gateway to China, but at the same time, it's also great to sell to Europe with your company. And during this year, we opened, I think, more than 1,000 Hong Kong limiteds for our wealth consulting clients. And we help the best of them to get local banking, to get private processing for their Hong Kong limited. And Hong Kong is also great. The best Western-friendly bank is probably HSBC, because easy to get started. They have branches in China, branches in Hong Kong, branches in Europe, all over the world. So Hong Kong is definitely a great step. Hate this country, love this country, it doesn't really matter, because if you want to gain influence and power and change something in this world, you just can't avoid the US. And the US are still, for most nationalities, the best market in the world for absolutely everything. To make a lot of money, the banking infrastructure is great, and obviously the payment processing and private processing options are absolutely amazing. Over this year, we helped 1,000 clients to set up a US LLC. We helped the best clients to get good JP Morgan private banking, and the best of the best chosen clients to get private processing to print millions in the US. But all of this started with step number one with me, of course, to making good moves and failing a lot, because I've spent thousands of hours with merchant applications, solving payment processing issues, and failing and failing and failing. And I also got blocked from all these fintech bank accounts in the past, doing mistakes. So I was basically standing there without any options. So I had to fly to the US as a non-US citizen. I've spent there 3 months in my first year, and I figured out everything. And it was really, really worth it. Because since I use JP Morgan Chase, and I'm not thinking anymore, hey, I have $100,000, I have $1 million on my bank account, I'm making too much money. No, JP Morgan on the personal level only started with $10 million. And since then, I really feel like, hey, I can make more money, more money, more money, and I don't need to worry. Because since then, my mindset shifted totally. And this is why I really think that this was one of the best chess moves ever, to just get this good banking. And on the same time, I solved and built all the connections to all the merchant banks, so that payment processing is just on another level. And I still think there's no country like the US that I know until now, where you can just online set up a company, print millions. Maybe you need to fly one time, but if you have a lot of money, bank account opening works really easy. But still, there's a lot that you need to figure out. So it's not like, hey, you have JP Morgan Chase and now it's all great. No, because I told you about traditional banks, how they work. If you don't know, I tell you how they work. Hey guys, I'm in Indonesia. I lost my card. Can you send me a card? Oh, Indonesia. Can you come to Germany to the branch? No, I'm not in Germany. Oof, I don't know then what to do. And there it's the same. How many times I had the issue in the beginning Guys, I have 15 million on my bank account and my login is restricted. How is it possible? Maybe you logged in from a new IP address. Maybe. Can you unblock it? Yes, sir. Come to the branch in Miami. Yeah, guys, I'm not in Miami. I really don't know then. What can I do? And I got a good banker. I solved these issues, but yes, just for you to know, even if you have a lot of money with these banks, doesn't matter if it's Swiss banks, US banks, it can be still some headache, but you have no other solution. At the end, at least they don't block you. And that's why for banking and especially for payment processing, why it makes more sense to just pay private processing, which stands in between, especially for payment processing, to connect you directly with these banks so that your payment processing works smoothly and perfectly, that you don't need to worry about documents. It's worth it. We just arrived in Istanbul. We didn't have time to finish the outro in Singapore because we were so busy. That's why I want to finish this video. If you like this offshore banking and private processing guide, then just write it into the comments. Write your questions into the comments. And obviously, if you want to learn more about how we can help you to get proper private processing, then just go to privateprocessing.com. Book a call with us, apply, and if you get approved, then congratulations. So see you on the call, see you in the next video, or see you in real life, inshallah.